but you know, there's the conspiracies that he's a clone. You spotted it,
Yeah.
while we were watching the special. There's a moment in the comedy special towards the end where Dave takes off his overshirt and he's just wearing like a t-shirt, and you see this tattoo on his forearm that says. No, but I get like there's not really much comedy news this week, but I thought we would do something a little different. Dante and myself watched the new Chappelle comedy special that came out New Year's Eve. It was called Dave Chappelle's The Dreamer. Came out on Netflix before everybody went out and got drunk as fuck. Yeah, Dave Chappelle, The Dreamer. From his onstage tackle to the slap heard around the world, Dave Chappelle lets loose in this freewheeling and unfiltered stand-up comedy special. So we watched this together, and I figure why not do a little comedy actual review here of the newest Dave Chappelle comedy special. Before we even get into discussing it, we'll try not to reveal fucking punchlines and all that shit. I'm a comic, so I'm very sensitive with that shit. I'm not out here to just bury niggas' jokes because that doesn't even make sense. But we will talk about it vaguely. Obviously, we'll talk about some of the subject matter that he talked about. You guys have probably watched it already. It's Dave Chappelle, biggest comedian in the world. People watch his shit. But just in case, spoiler alert. Before we get into it, though, what'd you think of the special overall?
I thought it was good. I thought it was hilarious.
Like, give me like a rating. Out of 5.
Ooh.
Do we even do that? That feels weird to even do.
I'd give it a 4.5 out of.
I think it's weird to do. Like, you know what I learned about myself? I can't rate anything right after because I'm so tinged with bias. Like,
yeah.
I just watched it, so I go like, it's like an immediate reaction versus what you actually think.
Well, then you have an immediate reaction score, and then you have the 2 weeks later
Honestly,
score.
bro, I'd say 3.
3 out of 5.
Yeah, from Chappelle, like he's had stronger specials.
Okay, fair enough.
Like, and I didn't like, you know. It's interesting. I don't know. I think something has happened, right? Like, obviously he's matured, but his whole audience has matured along with him. And now I'm in comedy too, so like I don't really watch it like a regular person.
Yeah.
I'm watching it like a comic, which I don't even know how to describe what that is.
Well, you're seeing like the inner workings of the jokes.
I am and I'm not because I don't know this nigga.
Yeah,
So
but you know
I
comedy.
don't, but I know, I know it to a level that the average viewer doesn't.
Yeah, like when we're watching it, one of the things that you said is like, "Oh, that was a funny callback." I'm like, "Do you remember the joke?"
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I remember that.
So you're like, well, I don't want to even.
But you know what though? Callback is something pretty general. Like most
it is.
comedy fans know what a callback is.
But I think you highlighted it as like that was a really good callback, right? So it's not just like any callback. Cause
Yeah, it was really good misdirection because I did not see the callback coming.
Yeah,
And the way he tied it in was it just worked really well.
yeah, I thought that was really good.
Chappelle is a fucking he's a master at comedy. Whether this is the real Chappelle or the clone Chappelle, I'm not sure. Yeah, obviously we're just talking shit, but you know, there's the conspiracies that he's a clone. You spotted it,
Yeah,
while we were watching the special. There's a moment in the comedy special towards the end where Dave takes off his overshirt and he's just wearing like a t-shirt, and you see this tattoo on his forearm that says human. And my nigga, if you were a clone, that is the best tattoo to get. It doesn't help the conspiracy.
yeah,
That was a good catch.
yeah. It's like that is the tattoo a clone would get. Like, guys, look, I am human. See, like it says right here.
Of his specials since he's come back from the hiatus and all that, like obviously his first 2 specials are like Chappelle Show era, and then I'd say everything post the Texas comedy special, like when he dropped 6 with Netflix.
Was it 6?
He dropped 6. Yeah,
Dang,
I think
that's
this
a
was
lot.
7.
This is 7, but I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't even remember all 6 of them because it seems like it's
Exa-
only been like 3 years.
Well, he dropped the first 2, I think, back to back.
Okay, so there's the big show, then there's like the small one, and then he
No,
dropped.
they were both pretty big. What he did though, because I saw him on tour, that first tour back when he came to Toronto and did residency at the Danforth Music Hall.
Okay.
I caught one of those shows. Luckily, like bro, those tickets sold out so quick. And it was like a 2-hour show. Those 2 comedy specials that he dropped was that tour. I think they just split it into 2 specials.
Okay.
He like,
Yeah.
or maybe that's what he was working on the whole time anyways.
Yep.
But all that material that I saw in that one live show were split between those 2 specials. So I think he already had those jokes in the bank, used those to roll out like I'm back type shit. And then from there, everything had been new.
Yeah.
My favorite one of all these new specials is the Bird Revelation. It's the one where he's just sitting on a stool.
Yeah, that's the smaller room.
In the belly room at the Comedy Store of like the new mature like Clone Dave.
Yeah.
Clone Dave era.
Human Dave.
Yeah. That was just so fire to me because the book that he talked about, Pimp,
Yep.
Iceberg Slim's book, everything he broke down about Hollywood, the Weinstein shit, the Me Too stuff, like I think he spoke the best there of all the shit, but it's also I think by design because it was like a smaller. It was literally 30, like that. The belly room in the Comedy Store apparently is like 30 to 50 people.
Yeah.
You know, it's really small. So for him to do a whole special up there, and then it makes sense for him to do that type of really intimate type of material.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, that was the shit because it was almost like he looked through my book collection, and he's like, "I'm gonna make jokes on all this shit. I'm gonna make jokes on all the Hollywood stuff that you all know about, but that no one's talking about." He was then he said something really profound. He's to comedians specifically. I think that was one of the specials where he was talking directly to comedians. It's like you have an obligation to speak recklessly.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want my kid to grow up in a world where he like something like he essentially said, "Fucking speak up. Actually, talk about the shit that you're seeing, because nothing will change if you don't." And yeah, I don't know. This was a great special. I really did enjoy it. I'll probably watch it again and then never again. Because now as a comedian, I'm extra sensitive to watching specials and stuff. I don't like picking up concepts or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But even that, like, I'm very aware, but subconsciously is what I worry about.
Yes.
I don't ever want to, like, I'm not a Mencia. I'm so, like, against plagiarism, especially in comedy,
Yeah.
that I don't even want to give myself the fucking, you know,
The opportunity to
Yeah.
do it subconsciously.
to do it subconsciously. Or even, you know, like, what sucks is, like, this nigga's a master, bro. Even watching this special, The Dreamer, I was, in my head, I'm like, there's so many more levels. I'm
Yep.
like, there's so many more levels.
Yeah.
Just when I think I got a grasp on shit. Just when I think I've killed,
That's what you're gonna go into earlier.
maybe.
There's so many levels to go. That's not the meme route. There's mastery in the
art
art
of
form.
comedy.
Yeah.
You know? One of the things that Chappelle said that really has stood out to me was when he was on Joe Rogan's podcast and Joe was talking to him about Andrew Schultz.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what do you think of all the success that he's had? He's really smart. He created this whole lane for himself through YouTube and da-da-da-da. And as much as I love Schultz, like what Dave said really resonated with me. He's like, I love that. I love that for him. I'm happy for him. It's just not what I do.
Yeah.
And the thing that stings a little bit about that is that 100% resonates with me. That's not what I do. But Dave's already famous. Dave doesn't have to do that shit. I'm not in that position. I'm still building an audience. Like, sure, I'm funny on stage, but I don't exist in the same come up as Dave did. You know? Like, TV doesn't even mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, okay, well, if that doesn't mean a thing, then let's figure out how we exist within the ecosystem, but do our own thing. Like, and I swear I still believe in my heart of hearts, like, you don't have to do memes, bro. There's still so many avenues, but the memes are the easiest and the most glamorized and the fucking, oh my God, the followers and the likes and all that shit.
Yeah, but the easiest doesn't mean the best.
No, it never is.
Yeah.
The easiest is never the best.
It's actually the worst.
So I don't know. Catch me on TikTok. One thing I do want to go a little bit deeper into was when we were watching the comedy special. I even paused this to talk to you about it. But Dave, right at the beginning of the comedy special, he's talking about Jim Carrey and how big of an influence Jim Carrey was to him in his, like, this is another thing that sucks, bro. Because I came up, like, bro, Mos Def, Yasin Bey, formerly Mos Def, top five rapper for me. but literally might be the most influential artist of my life. Best friends with Chappelle. Chappelle loves him. They're fucking like they're pretty much tied together at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. I was on to most before I knew about Chappelle. Then Chappelle came, and then it's pretty much been them. Like influence, comedy, music, whatever. And then to hear like this nigga talk about how big of an influence Jim Carrey is, and then the Andy Kaufman stuff, and then to go on the set of Man on the Moon and all this stuff, like it's like bittersweet for me because I'm like, fuck, nigga. It's almost like in my own mind I exist in this nigga's shadow. Because if I were to ever, blow up and get some fucking notoriety or whatever, and I start to tell people my stories, like I love Jim Carrey, I love Yassine Bey, be like, nigga, you just copying Chappelle's whole life. I'm like, yo, Man on the Moon is one of the most, like, Andy Kaufman. I'm like, fuck, man. I really got to get known so that I can start telling my story a little bit publicly so that people are like, oh, this nigga's biting. But no, it's not like that anyways. And obviously, bro, I'm mentally aligned with this nigga. Like, it makes sense. I fucking grew up watching this guy. Like, I got the Chappelle Show box sets right there. But beyond that, like, he's been a part of my life since a teenager. Like, but it's just crazy to me that, like, I don't have this many parallels with other comedians and shit. I love Bernie Mac. I love Patrice O'Neal. Listening to him to talk about music and shit like that, we don't align that much on the music and shit.
Yeah.
But then, like, damn, bro, every time I think I have my own unique shit, Chappelle's like, psych!
He said, gotcha, bitch.
Yeah, gotcha, bitch. And he's already famous, so people will attribute it. But, like, I'm gonna bring this up. Like, he was talking about, like, this guy, Andy Kaufman. Chappelle was talking about going on set of the movie Man on the Moon, which is based on the life of Andy Kaufman, acted out by Jim Carrey. Here's my Man on the Moon DVD. I ain't bullshitting, bro. Jim Carrey is a major influence in my life, and Andy Kaufman is literally on my fucking wall. You know how many people I talk to about comedy that don't know who the fuck Andy Kaufman is? This nigga right here, this scary-looking white boy. R.I.P. Yeah. It's just it's poetic, and at the same time it's like, fuck, nigga, I don't have anything unique about me.
No, but actually, you know what's even funnier? You both work with someone named Dante.
I hate you. Damn, that's true. You're my most. You're my Yassine Bey. We got to start making music.
Yeah, let's do it.
But yeah, go watch Chappelle's special, The Dreamer. Go watch Man on the Moon. It's probably streaming on something. And then if you've already watched that movie, go on Netflix and watch Jim and Andy. It is, bro. This is, bro. I could go on and on about this nigga. Andy Kaufman is so influential to me as a human being, not even just as a comic, like personality wise. Growing up, when Jim Carrey was making the movie Man on the Moon, I didn't know who Andy Kaufman was, but Jim Carrey was already a massive influence on me as a child. But I didn't even care about watching the movie Man on the Moon as a kid because I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is this about? Had no idea. I get a little bit older. I get into comedy. I really discover the influence that Andy Kaufman had. Bro, I loved wrestling as a kid. Andy Kaufman, a comedian, is pretty much the reason that the bad guy heel character in wrestling exists to the level that it does. He was the first like celebrity heel. He did like this whole, and it's in the movie. Okay. Like they go through the whole thing with Jerry the King Lawler. Like he did this. I've talked about Andy a bunch on the podcast, but he did this thing where he went around the country and wrestled women and said he was the intergender champion of the world. And he would just like go on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno and just pin a girl, like bro, live on TV, bro. It's, nobody can beat me. And then obviously wrestling being what it is, a show, he gets this idea. It's like, hey, I'm gonna start making fun of this wrestler, Jerry the King Lawler, who was one of the big guys back then. And they're gonna feud, and Jerry's gonna be like, "You only fucking beat up girls. Why don't you come wrestle a real man?" And they had this whole feud. He pile drived Andy Kaufman. Andy Kaufman sold it so well, he paid for an ambulance to take him to the hospital to pretend like his neck was broken. They went on the Tonight Show with David Letterman with him with a cast on his neck and Jerry the King Lawler. And he said, "Fuck you" on live TV. He's like, "I'm sorry, Dave, but fuck you." And Jerry the King Lawler slapped the dog shit out of him on live television. They just did like one of these magazines, Time Magazine or People, whatever the fuck, did like the top 100 most controversial TV moments of all time, and that made like the top 50 moments. Just a super influential guy in terms of comedy, and so to find out the level of influence that he had on Jim Carrey, who Jim Carrey had on me, I had to then do investigative journalism on Kaufman, because comedy has been my entire life, bro. For whatever reason, I didn't do homework at school, but I did like comedy homework.
Yeah.
Really odd. And then I'm just like, holy fuck, this guy Kaufman is a genius, bro. And then he really just like, I saw so much of myself in what he was doing. And then I realized why Jim was also like that. So it was just nice to see Chappelle like go through that story a little bit, even though to get to what he got to with it. If you haven't watched the Chappelle special, I'm sure by now you've heard some fucking article about trans stuff, gay stuff, or whatever. Because it's Dave, and he's gonna poke the bear.
Yeah.
Which he definitely did. But yeah, go watch the new Chappelle special. Go watch Man on the Moon with Jim Carrey. Go watch. Like, bro, I have so much Andy Kaufman shit. Like, you can't fuck with me. I'm an actual comedy. Like, I love comedy. I'm not just a comedian. This is why I can't do memes, nigga. Because these memers don't know about this shit. I love comedy, bro. I love comedy. Not Instagram and TikTok. Get the fuck out of here, nigga. I'm sorry, Dante. Shit. All right, well, that's the comedy recap for this week. What's up, beautiful people? Thank you for watching this. If you like that, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification button. We got new podcast episodes every Wednesday, comedy clips and segment clips throughout the week. Follow me. I'm AKA Black Zeus on all social media. Dante is Person1Prod. And, stay beautiful. Peace, peace.